Hi everyone, welcome to Brown and White's 23 Questions, a series brought to you by Lehigh's Brown and White and Iacocca Global Village program. I'm Julia Dapolito, and today we're kicking off our series with our first ever guest. Coming to us from Kazakhstan, I'm so happy to welcome Aknur Berdigulova. What's your name and how old are you?
Hi, my name is Aknur Berdigulova and I am 24, almost 25 this year.
Cool. What's your profession?
So that actually is a funny story. I just got a new job. So now I can say I am a program coordinator for a social project here in Kazakhstan, but it's not something new. I have been doing it since 2017, I think. So yeah, organizing social projects across the country. I mean,
That's so cool. What's something we should know about your job?
Something you should know about my job and me is that I'm really competitive, but in the most kind of productive way. I take my strive for competition to bring more, it's gonna sound cheesy, more good into the world. I actually prepared this kind of award thingy that my team gave me when I was leaving my first job of 2 years. It was a job at American Consuls. And we, in 2 years, managed to organize and coordinate over 600 events. So that was something to remember. And they gave me a kind of a token to remember it.
What does it say?
It says Alumni Coordinator, Aknur Inspires, and 2017-2019.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's yeah, it's sentimental.
What's your hometown or home country? Both of them.
My hometown is Karaganda. It's a city in northern Kazakhstan.
Gotcha.
I'm going to show you what's out the window. I can do it from the I live on 15th floor.
Okay. I'm having bad connection. Hello? Ooh, now I can see.
Not many. Fun thing about my hometown would be, did you lose me? Tell me.
You were like cutting in and out that whole time, but I did get to see what it looks like outside. Is there snow?
Okay. Cool. Oh yes, we have lots of snow. It's actually been melting for a few days, but I can even show you some of the snow.
Ooh.
Yeah, sometimes we do like snow.
You're muted now.
Oh, I lost you for a second. I was telling you, sometimes we do snowballs and we just throw them out and pray that there are no people down. So
from the 15th floor.
Yep.
How long have you lived there?
I have lived here my entire life, I should say, but I did study in university in a different city in the capital, and I lived a year in the US. So, and I lived a year working in a different city. So I'm really bad at math. So around 20 years out of 25, I did live here.
What's your favorite thing about your hometown?
I think it's the fact that it's my hometown. Like, very cheesy again, and just the fact that I know most of the things here, and I feel like I know people even though when I walk on the street, it's very rare when I see someone I know. It's a big city. But the fact that it's so warm and it has places where I, walked to school, it has some roads that me and my friends first traveled when we were just growing up. So yeah, I think this fact makes it special for me. But in general, for people, I would say lately we are becoming a very foodie town. Like there are a lot of authentic places being opened by people from different countries, despite the quarantine. So it's quite interesting how that happens.
Have you ever lived anywhere else? You already mentioned that you did, but could you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, I lived a year in the United States as an exchange student. I was 17. And yeah, I was a very proud Texan girl. I actually have it on my t-shirt.
I love that.
My host family made it for me, so it was the first thing I had to wear in Texas. Otherwise, they wouldn't allow you in. Wear this.
That's so cute. What place was your favorite to live and why?
That's a trick question, isn't it? I think I feel comfortable anywhere I live. But if I had to be very honest, I lived for like 3 weeks in Georgia. It's not a state, but a country in the Caucasus. And I had the view of the ocean on one side and the view of the city on the other side from my studio. That was my happy place because we don't have big bodies of water anywhere near where I live. Anywhere near, I mean. And that, those 3 weeks were just perfect for my soul. You just wake up and you see the sea. It's perfect.
Yeah, I love the water. Like whenever anybody's like, where do you see yourself like in 20 years? I'm like living on a body of water. Like I don't really care where it is, but like I want to be by the water.
Yep.
What did you like the most about living in Texas?
Everything. I love the people there. People are uniquely amazing. I don't think I ever met a person who wasn't supportive. And I don't know if it was just my experience or it's just the general Texas, Texas vibe. We say everything is bigger in Texas. That is also something to love. That means the foods, the meals are bigger and better. I'm not saying better. It was a joke. It was a joke. I know food is good everywhere. But yeah, I think it's just the fact that in Texas, you get the US experience, but you also get the Texas experience, the very big, the overboard kind of experience. I wanted to show you something. I have this sticker for like, 8 years now? We have it on our door. Apartment door. Yeah. Just, that's the vibe I try to live by. But yeah, my favorite thing. Yeah, I hope I answered it. Everything.
You did. I love that. Now we're gonna switch it up on you. What's the least favorite thing?
The similarity of my town in Texas to my hometown was kind of funny and a little bit kind of ironic because Texas is also, as you know, pretty flat. Like you get the same kinds of winds, and the thing that makes me feel so cozy at home there made me really feel lonely. Like every time there was wind, I was like, it's a different type of wind. And it's a different type of a step and a flat place. I guess that was a little bit of a minus. What else? I don't think there was much. What is there not to love?
We can move on. I know you love food. Which American food was the best?
we were just discussing it with my brother. So we love any and all types of sweets. And it's really funny how everyone in Texas loves Kazakhstani chocolate, but everyone in Kazakhstan loves the American chocolate, the usual ones, the peanut butter cups, Hershey's, everything, Hershey's. So yeah, that's just like something you can buy. But out of the like meals and dishes, it's of course the Tex-Mex food. So it's everything that you made at home or went to a restaurant and got, starting from quesadillas, burritos, all types of things. Yeah, if I had to choose one, I think it would be fajitas because it's easy to make at home, and for me, that the practicality of it is very important. It means I can have a piece of that anytime I want. So yeah, that's kind of the thing I like, and I think a lot of people share it, especially exchange students, when we come together. And I worked with alumni for a few years, and I know. So whenever you talk about food, everyone's like, "Oh yes, that's food," or like Tex-Mex or Mexican food, the best.
I've never been to Texas, but like listening to you talk about it, I really want to like give it a shot. I want to like get out there. It seems so fun.
You actually should go to San Antonio. It has the best. Like you can have the view of the river and eat, and it's just the best.
Gotcha. Noted. Which American food was the worst?
Ooh. So now, unpopular opinion. In Kazakhstan, we don't use many spices. The spicy especially, it's not something we do. So everything that was just a little above spicy was very hard for me. In a sense, like it was hard for me mentally. Because like I saw the amount of pepper on this. It's not gonna be healthy for me. But yeah, that was, I think, the big struggle, because like everything had to be, spicy for some reason. And another thing is, when like in Kazakhstan, we don't eat the not fully cooked meat. It's just a historical, maybe cultural thing. I don't know where it came from. So whenever something involved not cooking the meat fully, like well done, it was anxiety inducing. I don't say it's bad, like it tasted good. It just was anxiety inducing in general.
Yeah, because it was like out of the ordinary for you. That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I should have put it. Like I love meat. And now I'm used to that, but back then it was just something, wow, like 17-year-old me has never seen so much blood like on a steak or something.
Yeah. How about what's your favorite food from home in Kazakhstan?
Again, if it was a dish, it's everything my mom makes or my grandma makes. We have a lot of dishes with like noodles. The easiest way to explain it is like Italian, it looks like Italian pasta, but it's not pasta at all. But we make the dough ourselves and we cook it with horse meat. I'll send you the picture. Maybe we can include it here. But yeah, it's something you eat with your hands. So yeah, I really hope to kind of try to replicate this dish, but without horse meat when I'm in the global village. And it's a sort of dumpling that we also make. It's called manti. So everything that has to do with the dough and meat is good in Kazakhstan. But I actually have a kind of breakfast, a usual breakfast for me prepared. I wanted to show you. Yeah. So basically, it's the cottage cheese I really love, and we have it in like Russia, Kazakhstan, other Central Asian countries, but I could never find it in the US. So this cottage cheese is said to be super healthy. It's like protein everything, and it's really good for your health. So it's recommended to people with all kinds of situations, like sports people, but also people who have like problems with their health. So yeah, That's what I usually eat for breakfast. And
Yeah. Another thing you already kind of touched on, but what are the main differences between American food and food from Kazakhstan?
There's a lot of difference in Kazakhstan. As you may see from my plate, we don't do like the plating system. So like when you have to have like so much protein, so much like vegetables, we usually don't do that.
Yeah.
And kind of no one thinks about that because the main thing everyone eats is meat. And it's not half of the plate, it's the entire plate of meat and maybe something else if you're not full. So I think that was kind of the main difference. What else? I think it's more like a food habits that is different. Like in Kazakhstan, breakfast, as you see, right? It's a big plate of things, and I usually have a couple of fruit with it as well, because breakfast is the biggest meal of the day, and it's very popular. It's a very popular opinion that it's the healthiest way to live. So if you tell a person from Kazakhstan to skip breakfast, well, they're gonna really, really laugh, I think. But in the US, I think breakfast was non-existent sometimes. I still ate it, but in general, as a culture among my classmates and friends, I saw that, breakfast is not really a thing. Dinner is usually a big thing that we eat. So yeah, and that was really funny. Actually, I wanted to tell you the story of, so you see a round table, right?
Yeah.
It's in my kitchen. It's not popular to have these kinds of round tables culturally, because, it looks like it's gonna take up space. But in the US, my host family had a round table and we always ate dinner there. And I felt like it was such a team building. So I texted my mom. I was like, Mom, can you please buy a round table for our kitchen so we don't have corners and we can, all see each other. And she bought a round table. So that was really something that I brought from US food habits back home.
I love that. I'm a big fan of the round table.
Yep, it's so cozy. And like, why didn't people think of that sooner? Actually, I think culturally we did have round tables, but they were huge and they're usually used for like when you have a lot of guests over and when people lived in houses and not apartments. And that was kind of the thing. And you would sit on the floor. So the table would be very low. You could sit on the floor and eat. But that's, you see, it's like a cultural thing. But we made it modern and put a table with chairs.
I love it. If you could live anywhere else in the world, where would you live and why?
I actually know the answer to that one. If I could live anywhere in the world, it would be New Zealand. And it's because of this video. I watched a video about New Zealand's nature and this guy who was traveling around the country. And it just amazed me that they have like a super volcano. And if it explodes, the entire world is gonna go down. So so it's basically, people are like, no, I don't want to live on an island because volcanoes are dangerous. But I'm like, this volcano is so dangerous that it doesn't matter where you live. So might as well live somewhere with great nature and near a big body of water and enjoy. So it's kind of like apocalyptic thought. Like if it explodes, everyone's gonna go down. So what's the matter if I'm in the steppe in Kazakhstan or there actually seeing having first row tickets to the show. It's just a very quarantine thought, when you haven't traveled for like a year and a half already and you're like, oh my God. So needed.
I love that. What's your favorite hobby?
I was thinking about that recently. I have a lot of hobbies, but the most popular ones for me are very boring. So I love reading. And fun fact about that when I was growing up, since like from second grade to 11th grade, I was reading 7 books a week. So every week I would go to the library and I would read 7 books in 7 days and go on a Sunday back to the library. And yeah, I think it's just something that's been with me because I learned to read when I was like 4.
Wow.
And second thing is also boring. It's writing. I keep saying it's boring, but actually, like, look at the amount of diaries I have, and it's just from like last 5 years or so. Like, actually, there's one from my US year. It's the biggest one, but others are from like 5 years or less. So it's just something I write. I write short stories, and my dream is to write a book. So I hope one day a hobby becomes a profession, maybe. Hopefully, I don't know. I'm not sure. So yeah, that's been the hobbies I live with.
Yeah. And then the next question was like, how long have you been doing that hobby? But you kind of touched on it, but still.
Well, my first diary, I think they bought it for me around when I was 5 or 6. But the oldest one I found actually is this one, super cute and tiny. I was actually, it's half empty because I was writing like on the top of the page the name of the poem I'm going to write. But then I never wrote the poem. But I remember, like, I wrote the name. There are some poems about like everything. My mom, the capital city. Don't ask me. I don't know the logic. but yeah, it's been with me for like nearly 20 years, which is really fun because I'm nearly 20 years.
What's a fun fact about you?
Okay, I think, the best way to deal with, things that bother you, like when something bothers you or stresses you out. I developed this technique because I think sometimes I'm an extrovert, sometimes, not always. When I have those kinds of thoughts in my head and they keep spinning, some people meditate, some people run. I don't do that. I told myself, if I tell about my problem to 3 people fully, and they, just listen to it, maybe not listen to it. Nowadays, just read it, maybe. When I'm telling it to the 3rd person, I already feel stupid for even worrying about this. And that way, the problem just goes away. Like, okay, it doesn't go away. I actually have to solve it. But it no longer seems like it's such a big problem because I can be a little dramatic in like problems. And this helps, reduce the stress. Because when you're telling it to the 3rd person, you're like, no, that's not a problem. Like, what? So yeah, I guess that could be a fun fact. And I also am, my brother called me a biohacker. So basically I try to always hack. Have you ever heard this word?
No.
Yeah, I had to Google it. So I read books, nowadays I read books too. And I kind of find hacks to, increase the quality of my life. For example, if you don't sleep 8 hours, you'll feel bad. That everyone knows that. But did you know that those 8 hours happen also matters? So it has to be from certain time to certain time for some people, but different times for another group of people. So yeah, and I care about that. Then, even though I'm not like a biologist or a scientist of any sort, but that's something that goes with me. Like if I find out that the heart pumps for a certain reason, I will be so thrilled.
That's fun. Why did you decide to join the Global Village program?
Because I was looking for a way to connect to the world on a new level. My job has been connecting me to, a set of people from around the world. And that has been such a joy. And I don't think I've ever felt happier than when I was at one conference where there were people from 24 countries. That was the best memory of the past 4 years or so. And I just thought, I want to feel that, and I want to feel that on a whole new level. And I knew about the Global Village program for many years, since I became an alum, actually. The program is popular among Flex alumni, my exchange program alumni. So yeah, that was kind of the main reason to join, to get this professional development, but to get it on an international level and in a special way.
Gotcha. So what are you most looking forward to about the Global Village?
I am looking forward to living on campus at Lehigh. I have never lived on a university campus in the US. My university campus is really great, but I always wondered what would it be like to be a part of a US university and get that experience. And I heard there's a lot of wonderful things around the campus, like there are like natural spots where you can walk and go up the hill, go down the hill. It's something very special for me, again, because I live in the steppe, a very flat piece of earth. So going up and down was fun.
Farthest thing from flat.
Yeah, so do you have many hills, or is it just like one big hill?
It's just like one big hill, like one big mountain that like the university's kind of like built into. So like it's pretty cool because like from like my freshman dorm, like I could like look down and like see the class that I was walking to, like because it was just like up a mountain. So it's really cool. Yeah, it's not flat.
Your teachers can see you like running. Oh, I see Julia's running.
Yes. Running down the mountain.
Yep.
And then our last question for you, is there anything that you want to say to the Lehigh community?
I want my message to be connected to the current situation in the world. I think that's what makes us all very united. Give this piece of advice that all the people around me constantly remind me of. It's the fact that during the hardest times, it's the most important thing to focus on the good, to focus on even the smallest good that we have around, the fact that we're with our families, the fact that we have chances, even though right now it doesn't feel like it. It feels like, all the opportunities are lost, all the joy is lost, the usual way of life is lost. But maybe it's a good thing that we lost some things, and maybe we gained something more. And every time I'm sad, one of my friends reminds me, like, focus on the good. What's good today, or what's good in this particular moment of life? And it really helps me get through the days that are especially tough. And that's what I wanted to share with the community.